Mike. Pain in the ass.
Well, that's right, everyone. This is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk entertainment. It's Tuesday. I want to talk about Kadarius Tony. I want to talk about the unsung rookies, or the unsung rookie, in my mind at this moment in time. Kadarius Tony. I mentioned something. I did a video about 2 weeks ago that someone who knows some things about some things told me that the Giants would probably be looking to move on from Kadarius Tony before the November 1st trade deadline. Now, Jerry Fowler comes out and reports, wouldn't be surprised if the Giants were to move on from their often injured 2021 first-round draft pick. Yeah, well, no shit. I mean, the guy can't get on the field. He has a hamstring issue and then pulls the other hamstring while rehabbing the other hamstring. Yeah, okay. I mean, how many times I am waiting for him to pull a third hamstring that is unknown to most people in the sector of biology and human anatomy. Kadarius Tony, you know, it's another gift from Gettleman. It was the big Justin Fields trade. We don't need to rehash it because we don't need to go back and discuss it again. But it is what it is. I mean, if you get a fourth rounder, or maybe you get a fifth rounder that's a conditional fourth rounder if X amount of times played, but the guy's got to get on the field first. I mean, it's one of those things that everyone talks about his ability and talks about his what he can and cannot do, or what he can do, or what he can bring to the offense. It doesn't matter what you can bring to the offense if you don't get on the field. It makes it a little bit more difficult to see what your body of work is if your body is never there on Sunday. So if moving on from Kadarius Tony is what the Giants need to do, I mean, he's not being missed at this exact moment in time. So let's move on from him. But let's go on to a player that we don't want to move on from. A player that we probably should be discussing and probably hasn't been getting the props this last week that he should have, and that's Evan Neal. Evan Neal, just a couple weeks ago, I would say literally, what was it? 2 weeks ago? Not even. No, it was the week. Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. He was a bust. He was terrible. Everyone hated him. Everyone says, you know what? It's one of those other linemen he's just terrible right now. He's just a bust. Okay, so he played all 65 snaps. You didn't hear his name. And the greatest thing is when you don't hear the name of one of your offensive linemen, it's because of the fact that he's playing well. Was he flawless on Sunday? No, but he was a rookie. He is a rookie still. And while the offensive line at times struggled, he made no mistakes. I should rephrase it. He made no glaring mistakes. And you know what? He limited the pressure coming from the right side. Was he a shutdown guy? No. But when he was asked to go into one-on-one situations, especially on several third and longs, he was great. He was good. He was specifically able to hold his assignments. And that's what you want. And this is what I talked about with people. They're like, immediately, if someone has one good game, they're the greatest player in the world. If they have a couple bad games in a row as a rookie, they're a bust. It was the same thing with Andrew Thomas. Everyone seems to forget a couple of years back, everyone thought Andrew Thomas was a bust. I didn't. But he thought he was a bust. Thought he was terrible. He was going to be the worst Gettleman pick. Now he's a Pro Bowler, and potentially an All Pro, and not just a Pro Bowler, but All Pro. We got to give some people some time. Some people on this team get all the time in the world. Other people get maybe a week. And then I'll tell you this: if Evan Neal has a bad game in Jacksonville, he's going to go back to being a bust. But he's a rookie. He needs time to mature. He needs time to maturate. He needs time to find his way, and he's going to find his way. He's a big kid. He's a strong kid. He's a kid with good technique. He is a kid that just has to just find his way, and he will find his way. And like I said, if there was any indication about how he could play, playing all 65 snaps, doing what he needs to do, and like I said, was he perfect on Sunday? No. But was he what we thought he would be when we drafted him? Yes. And you also got to give big props to Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau, he seems to be finding his way a little bit as a pass rusher. He if you watched him on Sunday, he finally got into the backfield. He finally got some penetration. He finally seems to be getting comfortable. Of course, he gets his first career sack, which couldn't come at a bigger time. And it was a strip sack from Lamar Jackson. But he's finding his way, and he is another guy that is going to have ups and downs. He's another guy. And this is another guy just 2 weeks ago, everyone was calling a bust. Not everyone, a large portion was calling him a bust. Give these kids time, and I keep saying that. Give them time. You have to find your way. Yes, and I've said this even during training camp. Kayvon was very brash. And I worried because of the fact that if you're going to be this brash and you're going to be this boisterous, you need to back it up. It ain't bragging, mother effer, if you back it up. Thank you, Kid Rock. I'm looking at the new soundboard. The new soundboard is awesome. I have to figure it out though, because I can't get the levels right. And we're working on, I'm working on that too right now to get the levels right. It's got sound effects. It's got voice digitalization. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully we can hopefully get that moving along as well. And I also want to talk about briefly Daniel Bellinger. Daniel Bellinger is not going to have those statistics that are going to wow you. He had 5 receptions on 5 targets for 38 yards and a touchdown. But it's his blocking, it's his special team plays that really are making a difference on this offense. It's not like we're adding a 6 defensive lineman when he's out there blocking, but he blocks well. He blocks effectively and efficiently. Now he is never going to get you those huge gains that you're looking for. He's never going to go down the middle of the field or go down the seam and rip one off for 45 yards, but he is going to be a reliable pass catcher. He's going to be a reliable safety valve. He is going to be a guy that is going to do the little things, and that's what a team needs to do. You need to do the little things. You need to do things that don't show up on the stat sheet, and that's what Daniel Bellinger does. He does the little things. And like I said, those little things don't always show up. When you look at it, his 5 catches for 38 yards. But he's going to find himself in the right place at the right time to get those type of passes. He's sneaky. He's a Ballard. He's a boss. I've said it before, you can go back to even further back. He's a Bob Tucker. He's not a Howard Cross. He's not a Howard Cross, because Howard Cross was more of a stalwart in reference to blocking than he ever was in receiver. And I think Bellinger's going to have more of an upside as a receiver. But I think we just need to another guy, we just need to let him find his way, find his sea legs. And you also got to give a big shout out. Evidently, this is actually going to be a video about the rookies. Didn't know where this video was going until I turned on the mic. And you got to look at Wan'dale Robinson. Wan'dale Robinson, I'm not going to say the jury's still not out on, but he's still sneaky quick. He is a guy that, again, needs to find his role in this offense, needs to find where he fits, where he blends. And I think he will. He played 15 snaps. He's going to get more time. I am still concerned about him and having his ability to protect himself on the field, because, like I said, he is a smaller guy, and smaller guys have survived in this league at wide receiver, but they also learn how to duck and dive and not take the big hit. He still has not learned that, and he's going to learn that over time. It's the same thing with Kayvon Thibodeaux, not understanding in preseason how to get through a chop block. It's something you haven't really seen before in college, and you're going to learn in the pros. But right now, this rookie class, especially this week, and Lord knows what's going to happen next week. Oh, we also got to give a big shout out to Dane Belton. 6 tackles, 5 solos, 1 pass defense. He's another guy that really showed his wares. And you also had some you had drafted free agents that did some work in Fox and Anderson. So, this draft class, which was not looking good a couple of weeks ago, is now showing its mettle. It's now showing its wear. Is it the 2007 or 2011 draft class that helped propel the Giants to the Super Bowl? I'm not going to go crazy yet. There's still 11 games left in the season. And let me explain the definition of adversity. Because I talked about the fact is this team is going to have to understand what happens when they hit adversity. And someone was like, well, when you are down 2 starting quarterbacks, isn't that adversity? No, because it's toward the end of the game. You just run the Wildcat and you're playing the Bears. And then someone's like, well, being bound by 10 isn't that adversity? No, because you're down by 10 with X amount, but plenty of time left, and you trust your team. Adversity is when you run into a losing streak. Adversity is when you start losing main cogs of your team. Adversity would be losing Saquon Barkley. That's adversity, and powering on from that. Adversity would be what happens if you hit a 2-game losing streak. Adversity is what happens when somebody makes a comment in the locker room that disrupts the feng shui of the team itself. Those are things that are adversity. And I love it because even a reporter asked about adversity, on game day for Dable, and Dable's like, what adversity? Because adversity is not happening on game day. Adversity is what happens after the game. Adversity is when something catastrophic happens that you have to fix. That's adversity. And I think sometimes as we've grown as a society, we have gotten so sensitive to everything that the smallest thing that happens, we call adversity. No, adversity is something catastrophic. A 3-game losing streak is adversity. Having one of your players out because of drug-related offenses is adversity. Finding out that your starting left tackle is out for the season is adversity. Losing Saquon Barkley for an extended period of time would be adversity. And like I said, this is why I loved it. This is why I have the man crush on the Shane and the Dable, because they say the right things. They do the right things. They understand the right things. And that's what makes this team special right now. And I just wanted to clear one thing up, because everyone's like, well, you're not gonna, no team's gonna get rid of Daniel Jones playing this well. Does everyone forget about? I'm not even going to talk about the 2000. I'm not going to talk about the 81 Giants yet. We're going to go into the make it simple. We're gonna go into the 17 Buffalo Bills. Makes the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor's quarterback. Next year, what happens? You know what happens next year. We know what happens next year. They turn around and they draft Josh Allen. So there is a precedent with this team. There is a precedent with Joe Shane, looking at these things and doing these things. So you can never say never when it comes to the NFL. Tyrod Taylor, 2,799 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, game manager, had some wheels, 200, he did some running, did some nice things that year, got his team to the playoffs, already had signed a contract a couple years before, and they let him go. They move on from him because they knew, and even though they made the playoffs, a decision had to be made in reference to the longevity of the team. And that's how we're going to end this. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could maybe subscribe. If you're ringing that bell, that'd be awesome.